Hey guys, welcome to the ultimate destination for all things automotive. This channel is dedicated to everything, from the latest cars to the most classic beauties, everything in between. Whether you're a gearhead, a car enthusiast, or simply someone who loves to drive, you'll find everything you need here. Join us as we take you on a journey through the world of cars, sharing tips, tricks, and behind-the-scene looks at the latest and greatest vehicles. So buckle up, rev up your engines, because it's time to hit the road. It's Exodus here with XR Productions. Let's start the intro. All right, guys. Glad to be back. All right, so like I said, this is really a destination for everything when it comes to cars. We are here to give you tips and tricks, behind the scenes when it comes to vehicles, and sometimes, how-tos and, how to work on your vehicle. That will come within time. I've done one video, and I'm hoping to be able to do a lot more, right? So this week's video is going to be about, well, things you can mod your cars, which are $100, $500 or less. $100 can really do much, but $500 or less. And there are a few that will surprise you. So I hope you stick around through the whole video so you can, find some things that you can still work on your car and not be breaking the bank. First one. Suspension upgrades, right? If you go into the deeper rabbit hole of car modifications and, and you go through like a third party and you're looking at expensiveness, right? It's going to be expensive. It's going to cost you $1,000 or more, but depending on the year of your car, the make, the model, and all that stuff in between, you can save a little bit of money with, going for parts that are a little bit cheaper depending on your car. So, some suspension upgrades are pretty cheap, coilovers and replacing, struts or something like that. That's all can be inexpensive also. There's a lot of cheap ones on the internet that you can find that are still good, that have good ratings, and it's just really just there to help you edge a little bit. It's not going to make you the best car out there, having the top tier performance with the suspension, but sometimes, depending on how much work you've already put in your car, you don't need the best of the best. It's just a small upgrade in that suspension will already help you, in the long run. It's a little setup before you start spending money in more and more expensive things, right? Second one, brakes. We've talked about brakes before in this channel, right? Different type of brakes and discs. We went a lot in depth in disc and the pads, the brake pads and everything. But when we're talking about brakes, not only is the pads pretty inexpensive, like you could spend $200-300 on a good pair of pads. Rotors, we're looking at $100-300 also. Like again, those are mods that are under $500 and they'll help your stopping power. One little advice I can give you though is, sometimes you don't need to upgrade your brakes. If you don't have enough, power, if you're not producing enough power, horsepower, right? You don't need brakes that stop on a dime. Because imagine, if you're not even going that fast, if you're not pushing your car to its limit, the brakes that came with it is enough. It will work. It'll stop the vehicle, stop it pretty fast. Just by upgrading the pads, the rotors will already help you in the long run. Now, when you start developing more power, we're looking over 500 horsepower in your vehicles, then I would advise you to get calipers, new calipers, better calipers. And to be honest, I would, not sponsored by them or anything, or it might be just me being biased, but Brembo freaking calipers. But again, those are for when your vehicle starts pushing over 500. And that's just my opinion. Other people might have different things. Like, yeah, I can do it. Like, it's just pointless on dropping thousands of dollars in a caliper when your vehicle is just stock, you know? So, but brake pads are almost inexpensive. It is less than $500, and you can, buy brake pads one freaking paycheck, right? Then wait for the next paycheck and buy your freaking discs, right? Now, something else that people like doing, right? And it doesn't really improve the performance by that much, but it's the air intake system. How people buy, the K&N, freaking intake systems. Like, oh yeah, it says here it's going to increase it by 10 horsepower. Oh, no. Unless you're going to dyno tune it and then check to see if you made any gains. Most of the time, there's not that many gains. Like maybe 1 horsepower, if that. If it even affected it at all. It might not do anything. It might not even improve it a slight bit. But it is something that is, cheap. It is something you can do to help your car breathe better. Last video I'm pretty sure we made was about exhaust systems. How I explained to you about how back pressure, having it is not a good thing and all that stuff. So exhaust, sometimes you can get exhaust pretty cheap. It's like small things, I believe for my car, for me to get a mid-muffler delete, which is illegal unless it's a track car, here in the state I'm in. So if you get a mid-muffler delete, it's $181. Look at that, $181, not even $500, $181, and that right there is already clearing out the back pressure, having less of it, which is good for your car. So like a mod like that on your exhaust, sorry, having a mod like that in your car already improves your car's breathing, which will sometimes help you when it comes to performance. Wheels and tires. So this is a tricky one, right? So depending on what you want for performance, for show, material that it's made of, the durability of it, wheels can be very expensive or they can be in the cheap range. This is probably the one topic one mod that I kind of disagree with it being $500 or less. Because when it comes to performance, tires matter. So this is the one part of the list that I don't agree with, because you spending less than $500 on tires, that's kind of suspect. And I don't consider, if you're spending $100, $200 on a tire, right? I don't feel like it's a mod worth doing, because you're getting shitty tires that aren't going to help you at all. So one part of the list that I disagree with. Now lighting. Lighting is, might not consider, it's not a huge mod, it's not a performance mod, it's an aesthetic mod, right? It's gonna help how your vehicle looks, at night or during the day, depending if you decide to get like halos that like are always on in a certain color, or you can change it, or when you're playing music, it changes color. This is more for people that want the aesthetic of the vehicle to look mean and good, but don't care about the performance. I'm kidding. You can work on both. It's not an issue, right? So lighting, like my vehicle has LED lights, and I spent I think maybe $120 for these LED lights. It is a very inexpensive thing though. It still won't ever be more than $500. Most lights in new cars are LED lights, so they'll take forever to burn out, especially the ones that have kind of like LED bars going all around the sides of it, kind of like the Challengers. LED lights can last for they say 1,000 hours or what. I don't know how much the bars can last, but they last a while. So you don't really have to worry about that. So I'm saying, you'll never spend more than $500 on lighting for your vehicle. So if you do anything aesthetic wise, you want to put it inside, you want to put it underneath your car, don't do it. It's illegal in a lot of states. But if you do, fuck it. If you want to do it and you only turn it off during car shows, then that works. And they're really inexpensive. Shifters. You have a manual car, shorty shifters, right? There are some people that like having shorties, some people have regular size shifters. It really just depends on the comfortability of the shifter, right? So the longer ones, it's a little bit slower, so you're going boom, you have to do a lot more, you can do a lot more movement. So you literally have to go first, second, third, fourth. They're a little bit longer, like little strokes that you have to do, right? But when you get shorties, it's smaller movement. It's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So it just helps you like shift faster. Can be a little bit clunkier. It's a little bit less smoother than if you had the long one, of course. But that also just it all depends on your transmission and everything. And to make sure it doesn't move too much, you can upgrade the bushings on the shifter to make it like nice and like smooth, and it won't like be like jiggling when the car is in movement. So that is an easy mod to do. Next, body kits, right? So depending on the body kit, right, that we're talking about, it can be cheap, very cheap. Like if you're looking for like cheap ass spoilers for your 1998 Honda Civic, pretty cheap, right? If you're looking for louvers that go in the back of your windshield, hey, to each their own. If you want to have louvers in the back of your car, that's fine. I, for one, don't like louvers on the back of my car. It's my, preference. Plus, my windows are tinted to 5% in the back, so I already have a hard time seeing at night, and I don't want to be completely blinded at night with those louvers in. Right? I know it won't cover it up that much, but it's going to make it a lot more difficult since I already have a 5% tint. But louvers, diffusers in the rear, right? And then splitters in the front. All those won't be over 500, right? Unless you're looking for like carbon fiber or something fancy like that. You can find really cheap versions of these things. Splitters, diffusers, louvers, little fins on the side if you really want. I mean, at this point, I feel like you'd be wanting to make a ricer, Just want to make it look fast, and it could be a shitty 1998 Honda Civic with no performance upgrades on it, and it's just trying to make it look good. Anyway, but those body kits are pretty cheap. But when most of us think body kit, we think about like wide bodies, making things a little bit wider, or changing how the fender looks, replacing the bumper to make it look like, all that can start getting expensive because those are custom pieces, those are bigger pieces, so it's expensive. But those are the expensive body kits, and what I'm trying to tell you is there are cheaper ones that can still make your car look good and help aerodynamics if you want, the diffusers and splitters, but that's up to you. Another mod that I think is mostly just, to me, I think I enjoy having this mod. It's tint, right? It helps with, especially if you get the correct ones, if you get like the ceramic coated ones and all that stuff, it actually prevents heat from getting inside the vehicle and keeps you a lot cooler even when the sun is beating down in your car, right? It's supposed to help it. But just having a tint period, I feel like, is nice. It's a nice privacy tint, when you're driving, you don't have like some asshole looking at you and you're looking at him and you're like, fuck. Especially when you're just cruising, right? Trying to save gas, because gas is still pretty expensive here. And you're driving, your performance car, your muscle car, and then some jackass with a fucking Ford Fusion, it looks at you like, yeah, let's go. And you're like, dude, I don't want to fucking race right now. One, I would gap the shit out of you. Second, like, what? No, I'm trying to save gas. So at least you have a tint, you can just pretend not to. You can look at them and they can't see you. You're like, yeah, fuck you, dog. I'm not racing you. It's really good, especially at night. You can't see anyone inside that car. Cons though is that you also can't see anyone outside that car. You'll be looking at your side mirrors like, I see lights, but I don't know what type of car that is. Yeah, or when you're backing up at night in your driveway and you can't see anything. Yeah, those are fun cons, but totally worth it. But that is a mod that you can drop. I think I've spent total $450 for everything, right? A little bit less depending, because my rear windows are tiny. They're like tiny. So they're not going to charge me out the ass for a whole rear window when it's that tiny. But it's, again, less than 500. Still a good mod to do in your car. We'll help you out. Next, right? So people that have older cars, right? They don't have the new Uconnects and all that stuff, right? Because I feel like people have Uconnects. You can buy audio system upgrades, right? It's out there, but why? Because most of the time you can just go, I hate saying this, but most of the time you can just go to the dealer and be like, hey, I just want you to add this speaker system, because I know it's part of that trim. We have the same car, that's just a different trim. Can you just put those, audio system in there? Well, to be honest, if you're gonna buy a car, like I've said, buy what you want. So if you want a good audio system, buy with a good audio system. Like my car came with an Alpine at the time. Now they have the Harman and whatever. There's the rest of that name, I can't remember. Audio system, which is really good. Really expensive, but really good. But let's say you have an older car, right? You don't have those fancy Uconnects bullshit. It's just a regular old radio. You can replace it. You can replace it, put, the radios that they sell at Best Buy and all that stuff that, you can even get fancy ones that are touchscreen and have Uconnect. But anyway, you get one of those, install subwoofer, replace your, your side fucking speakers, and, you can upgrade them. Those are like pretty inexpensive as you're buying them slowly, right? Because you might look at a system like the module that could be $230, just say, if you get like a really, really fancy one, or $300. But then, afterwards, maybe, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you go and you buy a subwoofer and the speakers, because they're not going to be that expensive together. The max you would spend is maybe $400 if you got good speakers and a good subwoofer, depending on the size. But then, there's all that extra stuff that, I guess you could buy over time and save up, because you don't have to, when you purchase things to upgrade your speaker system, you don't have to go and install them all at once. You can literally buy it within means in 2-3 months. Once you have the whole kit ready, you'll be good. But each thing will be pretty inexpensive. Or if you want to cheap out, you could just get, better speakers and deal with not having a subwoofer. Some cars have them. Most cars have small little subwoofers in the rear, right? It's usually right where the back of right behind the rear seat, there's this flat area, right? In your car. And it's just flat and there's nothing on there. Some cars back in the day had little speaker holes for it, even though I think sound came out of them before. But now, my car, there's no speakers back there, it's super flat. But when you open up my trunk, you see two things just right there in the back. Those are the subwoofers. Those are the things that give it that bass, right? And the only speakers that my car has are the ones on the doors and the ones on top near the windshield. Those are the speakers I have. But anyway, those are all things that you can buy. You can actually buy really cheap audio systems, less than $500, with the amplifier, the speakers, and all that stuff, right? But again, you do pay for what you get. So, or you get what you pay for, basically is what I meant to say. If you get a really expensive thing, it'll be really good. If you get a really inexpensive thing, it'll be mediocre. Anyway, so those are the, mods, the 10 mods that you can do to your vehicle and it be less than $500. So hopefully this helps you out with when you're choosing your mods. Thanks again for watching us. I probably should have added in the middle of this video, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell notification. But I forgot, just hit that like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, and we'll all be good. All right, just please keep up with us. Again, we're trying to introduce new things. It's just, let's just say the recession has hit us pretty badly, and we're trying to get out of that so we can actually do things that we like and actually show you guys legit stuff. It is what it is, Ricky sometimes irritates me because he says, "Oh, it's a rant." Never mind. Let's just say I'm gonna kill Ricky. All right. Thanks for watching. See you guys next week. Deuces.